Hello, good people in the fantasy football world. Today, we are going to be mock drafting again. We're going to be showing you the strategies to use in your fantasy football drafts, drafting from the 4 position. I can't really say much to this point I can't say, it's the perfect draft. I can't do all these clickbaity things because I haven't even drafted the team yet, to be honest with you. It might be a lot smarter if I did that and I just manipulated the mock draft in such a way that it was the perfect draft. And then I could go back and say, oh, look at the perfect draft. But I just can't do that in good conscience. So this is a mock draft, not a clickbaity thing. It's just a mock draft. Okay. It's probably not the perfect strategy to use. It may not even be a good strategy to use. I don't know. I'm just gonna go into this blind. I know what players I like, what players I don't like. I don't even know if I should be saying any of this because you might think Seth doesn't know what he's talking about, but it's the truth. You go into these exercises and you're not sure what's gonna happen. You think the team's gonna be good. You want the team to be good, but there are mistakes that you can make that you can learn from, and everybody can do that. And if that makes me an analyst that nobody wants to watch, then fine. I'm cool with that. But you let me know what you think in the comments. But so let's talk about the 4th pick here. And the 4th pick is really good. I really do like the 4th pick quite a bit because I do think, similarly to the 3rd pick, it gives you a lot of flexibility because you can go elite running back. Like if Saquon Barkley is there and you want Saquon Barkley, you can get Saquon Barkley. If you want Justin Jefferson or if CD Lamb is there, you can get those guys. Those are going to be your options. If you want Jahmyr Gibbs, you can get Jahmyr Gibbs. That's probably the 4 pack of players that I would look to. According to ESPN ADP, you have Barkley, Jefferson, Gibbs, CD Lamb ranked in that order. And then on the way back, it's really interesting. Like you could potentially get somebody falling to you. I don't think that this is possible, but it might be. Drake London is currently ranked in the middle of round 2, according to ESPN. That could be an option. You could go with a Bucky Irving or a Chase Brown. I really like those 2 options, especially Chase Brown. I would have no problem taking Chase Brown in the middle of round 2, assuming, Brock Bowers is already off the board or AJ Brown's already off the board. Brian Thomas Jr., Drake London, all those guys are off the board. If you want to go Chase Brown, I completely endorse that pick. And then in round three is a little bit trickier to me because I think that there are a lot of landmines in round 3. I think Tyreek Hill is a landmine. I think James Cook going, according to ESPN, according to this ADP I'm looking at, with the 32nd pick, middle of round 3, I just can't do it. T. Higgins, I get it. He's in a great offense, but he's the wide receiver 2, and he's often injured. I'm not a huge fan of that pick. And JSN at the end of round 3, I think that there are a lot of players in this range that I don't necessarily like. And this is all according to Fantasy Pros ADP. And for that reason, if you wanted to go elite tight end, if you wanted to go elite quarterback in round 3, maybe I would prefer round 4, especially if Jalen Hurts falls to round 4, which he's been falling to round 4 in a lot of these mock drafts. Sometimes to late round 4, early round 5, I've gotten him there in some of the mock drafts, but that's really rare. In round 3, I prefer, Kyren Williams, and I think he could be there for you at your 3rd round pick because, again, it's not a sexy pick, but we know what his role is going to be. And I think sometimes in fantasy football, we overthink this, and I've certainly been guilty of it especially when it comes to Kyren Williams, is overthinking, oh, this player's not very good. Clearly, this team is not going to keep running out this player because they're not as efficient as another player. And they drafted Blake Corum and they drafted Jarquez Hunter. And surely Sean McVay is going to use his running backs differently. But no, history would tell us Sean McVay is going to use primarily one running back. And that's going to be, until further notice, it's going to be Kyren Williams. And I get it. He's not going to be much from a pass catching perspective. He's probably going to rank in the 20s like he did last year in targets because the Rams, their offense just doesn't work that way. But he's still a solid pick in the third round. He's still very reliable. And, you know, if Ladd McConkey falls to the third round, Ladd McConkey is the clear number one target on his offense, albeit it's an offense that is not going to be throwing the ball a ton. And Keenan Allen is now there. So that muddies the water a little bit. But I still, in round 3, if he dips there, I'm totally fine with it. And then in round 4, you know, you're looking at, and again, according to this ADP, Mike Evans, pick 42. I don't know if I buy that. I think he's going in round 3. You know, round 4, I mean, you could be looking at Breece Hall, and I really like Breece Hall in round 4 coming back to you. I certainly don't like some of the quarterback options past the elite options. If Jalen Hurts is there in round 4, I would definitely be on board with that. So if you wanted to go just best overall player, you know, if for some reason Amarian Hampton or Trevion Henderson is there, Trevion Henderson is just flying up draft boards. And the more I think about it, I think round 5 is probably the range where I feel comfortable taking Trevion Henderson. But, you know, if Breece Hall is there, that's a real decision you're going to have to make. And honestly, I would probably, it's very close, but I'd probably lean Breece Hall just because we've seen it before, although I do love Trevion Henderson. You know, DJ Moore, I think, is solid. Rashee Rice in round 5, Cortland Sutton. These are all good options. And then from there, you know, I think you just take what falls to you. And this year, especially, you know, I prefer elite quarterback to elite tight end. I'm not opposed to taking elite tight end, but this year especially, I think that there are really good options at both quarterback and tight end late. Some other names that I've mentioned before, but I also still like Teteroa McMillan, you know, RJ Harvey going later, Roma Dunze. I'm not sure why his stock has fallen so much. I don't know if it's because of the Caleb Williams stuff. I don't know if it's learning a new offense and people are concerned that, you know, the offense is not going to click right away. I don't know, but every part of that Bears offense is better. And Roma Dunze, I think, is going to be the featured wide receiver in that offense. And I'd take the discount. I've droned on for a long time. I'm probably going to edit some of this out. So let's head over to the mock draft. All right, here we are, the draft wizard. One of my favorite tools because I think it's one of the more realistic mock drafts you can do. Not perfect by any stretch, but it's really, really good. So we're going to do, you know, it doesn't really matter. You can sync your leagues here, but we're going to do PPR Snake 12 teams from the 4th spot. We did make a slight adjustment. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex. So this will give us more flexibility. We could do 1 flex here, but I think that most leagues have 2 wide receivers, so that changes the strategy just a little bit. It is PPR. I'm still going to want to fill those flex spots with wide receivers or pass catching running backs if I can. I don't have to, but that's my preference because I feel like that provides us the most week to week upside. We're going to be drafting against the Fantasy Pros experts using ESPN's pre-draft rankings. Actually, you know what? We're gonna change it up. We're gonna do Yahoo pre-draft rankings. A lot of my drafts are on Yahoo. I don't know about y'all, but let's go ahead and start this draft, and we'll see. I mean, I think all right. So it looks like McCaffrey goes 101. Oh boy, I don't think that that's gonna happen. I don't mind these things really because, you know, I recognize that zany, wild things happen in all of these mock drafts. So, but wow, 101. I mean, that's great for us. I don't know. I mean, we took CD Lamb at the 103 in our last mock draft, and I'm more than fine getting him at the 104. I do have him ranked ahead of Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Saquon this year. So I do think CD Lamb's the pick. And going wide receiver here, I feel gives us a lot of flexibility because, you know, the running backs that fall back to us. I heard Nick Galano from BDGE talk about this on the Fantasy Pros Fantasy Fest live stream last night. He was talking about how he loves taking wide receiver early because he likes the running backs that fall back in round 2 and round 3. And I have to say, I agree with him. So for that reason, especially in a PPR league, especially with that Cowboys offense built the way that it's built to throw the football. The offensive line is better in pass protection, according to PFF. They were ninth in pass protection last year. They were not as good running the football. And as of right now, they don't have a running back to run the football with. Javonte Williams, more of a pass catcher, although he can run some, but hasn't really been effective to this point in his NFL career. And then you throw in Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders. It's just a weird hosh-posh of running backs. And they have George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. So I think Dak Prescott, I think they're going to throw the football a lot. So I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be our pick at that spot. And I think we chose well because we have a lot of running backs still. I mean, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor. But Brock Bowers, both elite tight ends are still on the board. I don't think at this stage I would take Ladd McConkey. If he fell back to us in the 3rd round, I would consider it. But Ladd McConkey here with Keenan Allen, I think does bump him down the ADP. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't necessarily want to take elite tight end. I do think that that's the value right now because I could honestly see Brock Bowers going at the 1-2 turn in a lot of leagues because Brock Bowers is that guy, and I think Brock Bowers is going to be the tight end 1 for a very long time. And I do think Geno Smith is underrated in Superflex leagues. So the fact that I think that Brock Bowers is getting a quarterback upgrade over what they had last year, I mean, who knows? And the target competition is not stiff there by any stretch of the imagination. Just really Jacoby Myers and Ashton Genty catching passes out of the backfield. I mean, that's probably the direction I should go, but I really want to take Chase Brown, honestly. But I will go Bowers. And we'll see what happens. Because I haven't really taken an elite tight end, and oh my goodness. Okay, never mind. I thought for a minute that Chase Brown fell back to us, and I was about to just go ape. So Trey McBride, George Kittle going ahead of Trey McBride is interesting. So Ladd McConkey does come off the board. Bucky Irving, basically everybody we were hoping that would fall back to us in round 3, they do come off the board here. So we have Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill as wide receivers here. And honestly, I don't mind any of those options. I don't necessarily mind going with a more wide receiver heavy approach. Kyron Williams would be the one running back that I would consider at this pick. The worry for me is if we wait too long on that running back, I mean, there's certainly a balance, but I think maybe just to be a little bit different, I will lean into the 0-ish RB. I don't know if I'm going to wait till round 6 to pick our first running back, but just with the Matthew Stafford stuff and the fact that Mike Evans is clearly the number 1 wide receiver there, I get it. Egbuka's having a great training camp, but Chris Godwin's hurt. Now Jalen McMillan's hurt. I think Mike Evans is a smash this year, and I'm not going to overthink it. Yes, there's a chance that he gets hurt. Maybe we can take Emeka Egbuka a little bit later. Probably not because he's just flying up draft boards. So we're going to lean into this 0 RB type build. And honestly, that was not fantastic for us. I mean, a lot of the running backs here, Brees goes, Amari and Hampton goes. That's not surprising. James Conner. So running backs we kind of got flushed out there. I don't even know if that's the right way to say that. So I think it's important in drafts when you're in this situation, right? Because I think all of these picks we made are good picks. CeeDee Lamb, Brock Bowers, Mike Evans. I think we took some value that came back to us in those rounds. So now I think the draft board is presenting us with a wide receiver. I mean, we have 2 flex spots. I mean, maybe you just have 1 flex spot. That's totally fine. So the wide receivers on the board here, Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe that's, the universe telling me to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I know he's got a lot of upside, but I'm just not sure that the situation's all that different this season. DJ Moore, I just prefer Roma Dunze at cost, to be honest. DK Metcalf, I want nothing to do with this year in that weird Pittsburgh offense. I don't really want much to do with Pittsburgh, maybe outside of Caleb Johnson. You could talk me into taking Caleb Johnson, although I'm still iffy on that. And then going down the list here, we have Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, who I do like, George Pickens, who I've come around on. Travion Henderson is the one running back that if he does fall to us in round 5, I would seriously consider. But I do think that wide receiver is the play, and I do think that Cortland Sutton is my guy. He's been my guy in round 4 or early round 5. It does feel a little bit rich here, but I love the situation. He's clearly the number 1 guy there. So I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. And this team is going to be really super old with Mike, aside from Brock Bowers and I guess CeeDee Lamb too. All right. So Marvin Harrison comes off the pick right after us. Joe Burrow, DJ Moore, Travion Henderson. So I guess they're just loading up on pass catching running backs. Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf. So what I'm learning here is if I want Travion Henderson, I'm going to have to take him at that, in the 4th round. That's I think where he's going. And the more I think about it, I think the reason I was reluctant to take him there at the 409 is because I had been getting him in the 5th and 6th round. And, I just don't think that you can, I don't think that you have to change with the ever changing ground in fantasy. And sometimes, admittedly, I'm a little bit slow to adjust. And the best fantasy players are the ones that are quick to adjust. But that's why we do these exercises. That's why I talk through the strategy. That's why I'm super transparent in talking with this. And this is a two-way conversation. I feel like I'm a really good fantasy player, but I can definitely get better. And I acknowledge that there's probably some people in the audience watching who are really good too, and that I would learn a lot from just their strategy and their way of thinking about fantasy football. So yet again, we have wide receivers just aplenty. And I don't think Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, RJ Harvey, any of these guys presents us with much value. Devonta Smith to me is set it and forget it in a lineup. I think George Pickens has a lot of upside. Xavier Worthy as well has just a ton of upside. I mean, a lot of these players are in the same relative tier. But I'm going to swing big for the fences, and I'm going to go I feel like we have a lot of stable options that are going to score us a lot of points on a week to week basis. I'm getting the first 4 games of Rashee Rice, and I know that. Okay, so it's saying here the NFL originally proposed an 8-game suspension. I honestly hadn't seen that before now, according to this. So that does change things a little bit. I'm just going off of what I'm seeing here. I would be surprised if it was an 8-game suspension, but that does scare me a little bit. And that would definitely bump up a player like Xavier Worthy. So let me know what you think. I might be flip-flopping because I'm a huge fan of Rashee Rice. But if that's real, and I'd have to look more into this because I just assumed the hearing was going to be on September 30th. Then he gets a 3 to 4 game suspension. But I might just be avoiding that altogether in this draft. So I think what I'm leaning toward, Xavier Worthy, Devonta Smith. We could also go with the supercharged Cowboys attack with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. You know what? Let's have some fun. and let's go with George Pickens. I haven't taken George Pickens in any draft so far. And so we have both the Dallas pass catchers, and I think that could provide us a weekly floor. And then I think, you know, stacking with Dak Prescott later makes a lot of sense too. All right. So there's a wide receiver that I really, really want. And some running backs that I think, that could fall. Like I think Pacheco would be a really good pick here. I would prefer Pacheco over, any other running back. David Montgomery over him for sure, over Tyron Tracy, definitely. And I think Caleb Johnson could also be a nice pick for us a little bit later. Emeka Egbuka in round 6 still feels expensive. Let's go ahead and lock in our first running back here, and let's see what happens. I think, this team has 3 wide receivers, 2. I don't think we're going to get both Rome Odunze and Pacheco. So what would my Pearsall? I wouldn't mind either. I think we lock in Isaiah Pacheco, get our first running back, and then we just kind of see what happens. So yeah, our queue gets pretty much wiped out. Wow. So Montgomery is still there, and I do think it's a value at this point, but I also think it's, I've been the biggest David Montgomery proponent out there amongst anybody, especially a few years back when he first signed with the Lions, and everybody thought, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the guy, and it turned out that he was. But I also thought that David Montgomery provided a lot of value, and I think here he does. I would definitely prefer him over Tyrone Tracy. Jacoby Myers would also be, in the 7th round, would be a nice pick, I think. I don't necessarily know if we need to go. Obviously, we already have a tight end, but I don't think we need to go with the quarterback. Emeka Egbuka might be an interesting pick here, and just passing on these running backs. Now, remember, like, a lot of these teams already have 2 and 3 running backs. This team over here has 4 running backs. I'm not really sure what they're doing. They've completely missed the boat on wide receiver. You know what? I am going to shoot for the moon here. I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka. And we're just going to see what running backs fall back to us. And I guess we're going to go Tampa Bay, and I guess we're going to go Dallas. I guess that's what we're going to do, because I do think Brian Robinson, like, if you just think about Brian Robinson right now, and yes, Washington is, and I'll talk about Egbuka too here in a minute, I promise. But if you just think about the outs that Brian Robinson has, and I kind of figured that this would happen. And Dak Prescott, really, D-bro? Dak Prescott you over Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray? Anyway, whatever. So we're not going to get our stack. I'm mad at the virtual D-bro. Wow. I really thought that we would be able to stack Dak Prescott with our guys here, but I guess we were wrong. I guess we could take Baker, although I do not like Baker as a value this year. But at this point, I suppose it's fine. Especially considering all these. We could probably get him in the 9th round. Anyway, there's 3 things I want to talk about, and I haven't talked about any of them. Number 1, I guess Dak Prescott was one of those things. Number 1 would be Brian Robinson. Like, I think Brian Robinson has a lot of outs. I think there are a lot of teams that need running back. Dallas, Houston. Those are 2 great situations that I could see him winding up in. What about the Bears? So I think Washington's going to trade him, but I do think that they're going to trade him likely to a destination that's going to be good for fantasy. and he's not sexy, but he's been effective as an RB2, RB3. There's also Jalen Warren staring us in the face. This has been an interesting draft, and I'm glad that I'm using the Yahoo, because I think that's shaking it up a little bit. So I might have to just filter between these just to keep it fresh and to keep my brain, on its toes. Gosh, Jalen Warren as an RB2 doesn't. I mean, I would almost prefer Brian Robinson, Jordan Mason. I mean, there are options at running back that I still like. Let's go to wide receiver and see what's there. Josh Downs, I like a lot better now that Daniel Jones has been confirmed as the starter. Matthew Golden provides us a lot of upside as well. Maybe he comes back to us. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. I'm gonna go with Josh Downs. He's one of my favorite picks in this range. I'm just gonna go with my BPA, and we're gonna see what happens at running back here. Okay, all running backs come off the board. Thanks. Oh my God, I was not expecting that. Jalen Warren, Jordan Mason. I figured one of those guys would come back to us. This is the fun part of doing a 0 RB build. I mean, do we just keep pushing running back and go with Baker Mayfield and get the stack? I don't know. This is interesting. I've never seen Baker Mayfield go this late. We do have 1, 2. There's 1, 2, 3 teams without a quarterback. You know what? F it. Let's lock in Baker. Even though in the 9th round, I'm fine with it. Getting him, 3 full rounds after Mahomes. I don't think there's much difference between him and Mahomes this year. Oh, wait a second. Did I take Jaden Reed on accident? Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna redo this. And I don't know if I can control. I didn't mean to take Jaden Reed. I apologize. I wanted Josh Downs. So we're gonna take Josh Downs. All right, and basically the same thing happens. So that's totally fine. So anyway, I wouldn't be able to do that in a real league. So, gosh, there's the running backs are still the same. I mean, Judkins is there, but that would have been the guy that I would have least preferred. So, you know what? I'm not really in a rush to fill my RB2 spot anyway. I think, and I'm not really I don't really need to stack either. So if Baker comes back to the 10th round, so be it. I want to take another upside shot at wide receiver, and I want Matthew Golden, man. Let's just do that and just have so many wide receivers. Oh, and Baker, oh my gosh, he did go in the 10th round. We almost got him coming back to the 10th round. So no stacks for us, but that's fine. I'm fine waiting on quarterback. So we have all these awesome wide receivers. We have a tight end that's the best tight end in football. And what running backs are there for us? Najee Harris with one eye. I think, gosh, running back just got wiped out again. I don't know what these guys. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, this guy is going to be trotting out Jamison Williams as his wide receiver 1. Debo as his wide receiver 2. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to play some catch up. I mean, we'll be definitely taking some multiple shots at running back later. I mean, is Najee a value at this pick? I think, how many wide receivers do you really need? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 already. And there's still a lot of wide receivers. You know what? Let's go ahead and take. I like taking Ayuk in this range and just sitting him on our IR spot. So let's take Ayuk. And again, more running backs come off the board. Okay, that's I, I guess I just need to take one. So at this stage, I mean, I think we're mostly set at wide receiver. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers out of 16 picks. So we need definitely to start taking, maybe quarterback. We look in this direction at quarterback. Kyler Murray and Brock Purdy would be just, I think, smash values here. I do like Drake May a little bit later as well. Definitely know what you're getting from a Kyler Murray. I think May has more upside. But I do think we need, at some point, we just need to buckle down and take some running backs. And, Nick Chubb could be the starter for the Houston Texans. I know it's not sexy, but him ahead of some of these handcuffs here, I mean, he could fill a role for us, at least initially. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go Nick Chubb, or maybe even Dylan Sampson. Because we'll see what happens with these running backs. And I also don't want to wait too long on quarterback. I like a lot of the options. I feel like we're gonna get a good one coming back to us. So let's go with Nick Chubb, assuming I can find him again. Let's go Nick Chubb. And again, Dylan Sampson does come off the board. Only 2 quarterbacks come off the board here. Let's go back to running back. And Rico Dowdle, it's telling me. So basically we're just down to handcuffs at this point. And I do think that Blake Corum is the most important handcuff running back in fantasy football, because of how the Rams utilize their running backs. So I'm going to go Corum. So Brock Purdy does come off the board. So I'm getting the sense that we should probably take our quarterback, and I'm taking Drake May. No stacks for us. So I think, I do think the strategy now is just start with our last 3 picks. We go running back, running back, running back, and we just try to hit on one. Justice Hill is probably the handcuff for Derrick Henry, but I do think Keaton Mitchell has a lot more upside, and that would be a split between those 2 guys. So I'm going to take Justice Hill because I think he's probably the guy. So DJ Giddens, so Kyle Monangai. I'm just not hearing good things about Kyle Monangai. I think we waited too long on our RB2. I just kept pushing it. I think I pushed it too far. So this would be a team where maybe I look to make a trade. But man, I think this 8th, 9th round pick really, really messed with me. Or if I could redo this, maybe I go running back at the 8th round pick. But you let me know what you think in the comments, because man, running backs are just completely dried up. So I think I will go. I don't love any of these options. Quarterbacks are still there. Wide receivers, man, but we just don't need any of these guys. I love Coker at this value, but I think maybe we take a chance on Monangai. I mean, he might get cut though. Mitchell, we just lock in the Ravens guy. I mean, I don't love that either. Let's do it. Let's just go Keaton Mitchell and see what comes back around. And okay, so we're going to look at running back here. Is there a guy here that is being ignored? I don't think so. I don't love any of these options really. Let's go with Sean Tucker, and I hate every second of it. And let's see. Oh, I see. I figured this would be a bad draft just because of our running back situation. So we get a C. This is probably the worst grade that I've gotten. So let's view the full analysis. And again, I don't like our wide receivers. So I'm projected to finish 10th. Wide receivers are great. Tight end's great. Flex is great. But again, not great. So Derek Brown liked it. Brad Beatson liked it. Ryan Noonan from 4 for 4 liked it. A lot of people, though, D's, D minus. So let's look at the steals and reaches. Drake May was a steal. And to be honest, the more I think about this, so we CeeDee Lamb, Brock Bowers, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, George Pickens, Isaiah Pacheco, Emeka Egbuka, Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, Brandon Ayuk, Nick Chubb, Blake Corum, Drake May, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, Sean Tucker. So yeah, we go with the 0 RB strategy. And if we were going to do that, we should have. I got value trapped into taking these wide receivers because what are we going to do with them? We can only start 4 of them. So we're going to start CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, George Pickens. That's what we're going to do. And we're just going to have Downs, Golden, Ayuk. Did I take Marvin Mims on accident? What the? I don't know what happened, guys, here. Let me see. What did I do? I mean, he's not on this board, is he? Wide receiver. Marvin Mims. Nope. He sure isn't. Anyway, sorry. I thought I was having I thought it was the end there for a second. All right. So, yeah, I mean, the good news is we are going to be able to pick up another player because we're going to stash Brandon Ayuk. But again, like our wide receivers are good. And it's saying I have David Monk. Oh, it's saying like redo the pick. I see what's going on. I'm just not as smart as the technology. So Drake May, Isaiah Pacheco, Nick Chubb, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Brock Bowers, Cortland Sutton, and George Pickens. I don't hate the starting lineup right off the bat, but so basically we'd be hoping for an RB injury, hopefully to Derrick Henry. That's what this team would be pulling for. Not that we ever pull for injuries, but let me know what you think of this team in the comments. I don't hate it, but again, I wish we were just a little bit stronger at running back. Thank you so much for watching. Be good, everybody. Don't forget to click the like button if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more mock drafts, more fantasy breakdowns. And until next time, be good, everybody, and we will see you later.